Thanks for checking out Scotty's Hobbies. Today we're working on this 2003 Chevy Suburban. I'm going to show you how to replace the fuel filter on this vehicle. It doesn't take long. I'm going to show you the tools that you need. I'm going to give you some tips as we go, or let you know what I do to replace this so I minimize the fuel leaking on myself or on the floor. And this process should take you about 20 minutes, if that, and should be done about every 30 to 45,000 miles, I believe. Look for links in the description below to purchase this if needed, or the tools if you need them as well. This will be the same, if not very similar, for a ton of vehicles that are the GM, so the Chevys, the GMCs, the Cadillac Escalade. There should be a list somewhere, I don't know where, of all the vehicles that this will apply to. But super quick, real quick, before we get going, make sure your fuel cap is loosened up so you don't have any pressure built up in the fuel system. It'll relieve through the fuel cap when you loosen it. Jack up the vehicle and make sure you put jack stands under the vehicle so the vehicle does not fall on you while you're doing this process. And again, this is real quick, 20-30 minutes and have you done. Let's get going on this fuel filter change on this 2003 Chevy Suburban. Here is the fuel filter that we will be changing in this video. The difference between your vehicle and this vehicle might be a flex fuel, and if it is a flex fuel vehicle, you will have a nipple on one side of your fuel filter rather than threads on both sides. So the procedure will be a little bit different for those vehicles, but pretty much everything is the same. So maybe this video will help you out, but there might be another video out there that might help you out better. Just double check what you have. If this video does help you out, make sure you comment below with the year, make, and model of the vehicle that it did help you out. Let me know how the process went and how long it took you. Like, subscribe, and share while you're watching. Today we're diving into some essential maintenance as we replace the fuel filter on this Chevy Suburban. Before we get started, make sure you check the video description for all the tools and parts needed, with handy links for your convenience. Safety first. Jack up the Suburban or the vehicle and secure the vehicle on jack stands. With the vehicle properly supported, go ahead and go to the fuel filler cap. Loosen the cap. Just take it off and set it on there. You want to relieve any pressure that's built up in the fuel system so it doesn't spray everywhere, or fuel doesn't spray everywhere when you loosen up the filter under the vehicle. Now let's get under the vehicle and locate the fuel filter. The fuel filter is right here on the driver's side of the frame, on the inside of the frame rail as well, right under the driver's door pretty much. Now that we have a catch pan under the fuel filter, we have the tools we need to get this fuel filter off, and we are ready to take the fuel filter off of the frame or loosen it up. So we're going to loosen up both the inlet and the exit lines on the fuel line. It doesn't matter which one first, and be careful when you do loosen these up, you might get sprayed with fuel a little bit, so just be precautioned about that. Maybe some safety glasses and some gloves might help you out in this situation as well. So loosen up both sides, take the nuts off of the fuel filter, so just make sure they're not threaded on at all, just have them loosey-goosey on the fuel lines. I'll be using a 16 millimeter on the fuel line side and a 13/16 open end wrench or a 20 millimeter open end wrench to hold the fuel filter side, or like I am in the video, you could use a adjustable wrench or a crescent wrench to hold the fuel filter itself. The fuel line nuts should not be too tight, so it shouldn't take too much oomph to get it off. If the crescent doesn't seem to be fastening properly, go ahead and get the right size tools, but these two connections should not be too tight, and a crescent wrench should suffice in this situation. Once it's loose, move the exit fuel line out of the way. You might need to unclip it from that little black retainer, the little black clip that's holding it in place. It'll give you a little bit more wiggle room with that hose. You can either remove the bracket by taking off those 10 millimeter bolts, and the whole filter and bracket assembly will be able to be removed, or like in the video, you could shimmy the filter out of the bracket while it's still on the vehicle. This way took me about 4 or 5 minutes to get it shimmied out easily, maybe a little bit less, and this whole job itself took me about 25 to 30 minutes to complete, so it doesn't really take all that long. And after we get everything going, you're going to have to check the O-rings on the ends of these hoses too, so just take that a note for future reference. With the fuel filter off, inspect the O-rings on the fuel lines. If they look squashed or cracked, replace them. In this case, the exit fuel line had a little crack in it and did look a little squashed, so I just went ahead and replaced both sides or both of the O-rings on both fuel lines. Install the new fuel filter in the correct direction, usually stamped with a in and out or one or the other. Make sure you just double check which way the filter should be placed in the line of the fuel line. Remember, fuel travels from the tank to the engine, so the tank side is the in and the engine side is the out. Just take that into consideration. While you're watching this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share too. If you know somebody with a vehicle like this, the Chevy Suburbans, the trucks, the GMCs, Denali's, everything. I have a ton of videos on these vehicles, so make sure you check out the video library, like, subscribe, and share while you're watching, please. Now let's keep on moving. Get the new fuel filter up there and start the fuel lines with your fingers first, turning a few times by hand before using any tools to tighten them up. Do not cross thread these nuts and avoid over tightening. Aim for about 25 foot-pounds, although it is always good to double check what your vehicle specifications recommend. So you should be able to get 3 turns maybe on these nuts going into the fuel filter before you need to use any tools to tighten them down. If you can't get 3 turns out of them, just back them out and try it again. Get everything lined up properly before you tighten it down. You just don't want to give yourself extra work. Now with everything tight, prime the engine 3 times using the key in the key on engine off position, and then start the vehicle after you do 3 warm-up cycles, or 3 prime cycles I should say. After you start the vehicle, look under the vehicle, make sure you don't see any fuel dripping. If you do, don't panic, just turn the vehicle off and get down there, inspect and see where the leak is coming from. Tighten it up maybe, or if you cross-threaded something, you might need to replace and get another new fuel filter depending on how bad the threads are. Hopefully you didn't damage the nut on the fuel line side, so keep my fingers crossed for you if that is the case. If this video did help you out, make sure you comment below. Let me know the year, make, model of the vehicle that it did help you on. And again, I told you before, but like, subscribe, and share, please. Thanks for joining me on this maintenance journey. If you found this helpful, hit that like, subscribe, and share button, please. And be sure to check out Scotty's Hobbies for more automotive tips and tricks. Until next time, thanks for checking out Scotty's Hobbies, and I'll see you on the next hopefully helpful video.